Hey everybody, welcome back. In this video I want to talk to you about the language function and its implications within a Power App having a much larger scope than just what the function does at face value. So quite simply, at face value, you just pop in the language function based on the user who is using your application. They're in a region and it has the context of where they particularly are within the region and information. So this is the documentation page for this, which again you can get to, and I am going to download this particular one because I did quite a bit of work to do the video here. But anyway, down here is the documentation to get to this screen that I am showing you here. And it's simply just telling you these are the different type of language tags, and that Power Apps uses this language tag format. It's basically international standards. You'll need to make sure that you get your list accordingly so that you can figure out what you're going to do with regards to this Power App and how you're going to use this particular function. Okay, so essentially, again, you're just going to run this. You're going to probably store it off in a variable. And the whole reason that you want to use this function potentially is because you want to have your app available to users in a global type of deployment or global rollout, and you don't want to create X number or N number of applications to serve each of those regions based on the language that's spoken. Because essentially you want the user interface to reflect the user's particular area that they're in, and you want to create a single app to address that. Well, the way that you'll do it using some sort of translation mechanism is you'll create all of your user interface items. So for example, this particular item here, you'll give it a particular name, and based on this text value just being a text value, you're going to use a lookup function. You're going to pass in, this is how I do it. I give an ID name like txt topic, and then I'll say lookup txt topic, and then based on the language tag, bring back a particular item or language. Let's show you what this looks like. I'm going to hold the Alt key down and push this. I have a very simple use case of this. So here's the language tag. Again, by using this, I'm pulling it back, but I'm also creating a matrix that can be served and used as translations. So you should store this in Dataverse or SharePoint list or whatever the case may be. And the idea here is whatever the language tag is, then I want this label here to dynamically change. So if I go ahead and I look at the text option for this, I'm simply doing a lookup to provide the text, which is going to be this localized text. And I'm basically saying, whatever the current language tag that's selected from this dropdown, in your case, if you're doing this in the real world, whatever the value is that's stored in this variable. So again, application on start, there's a couple of different ways of doing it. So, most people just use the on start mechanism. I would also suggest to start using formulas as well. But in any event, a couple different ways of doing it. The point is, get your variable set that'll be a constant or static. And once that's there, then you can run your translation code. And instead of me doing drop down 1, you'll simply just pop in the value of the variable here and then do your lookup accordingly. So you can see I'm going to hold the Alt key down. As I change through the different localizations, I'm getting a different output or return value based on that. And so this is how you provide translations and how an application can dynamically serve multiple regions and multiple areas at the same time. And so it's a really cool, helpful function. And then of course I threw in a blank one so that if there's no information there, then just go ahead and default to it. So the text ID again would be referencing, here, let me go here, would maybe reference label 5, and then I would say, hey, for label 5, based on the particular language, then go ahead and provide this translation. So I would go so far as to create two tables where you have one table that has basically all of the assets on the screen, and then the asset can then be used as a lookup to another table, which simply just has the language tag and the localized text, and you'll just do a secondary lookup. But you can put it all in one table too if you want to. In any event, that's it for this video. I hope this was helpful. Even though it's a simple function, its larger implications is really translating the app to be usable by all people all over the world speaking different languages so that they can see your app in their native language. Okay, thanks. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.